friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time. Well, now that I've been getting the butcherbox for over 7 months, I wanted to come in here and give you a good, honest review, which is why I've waited this long. I wanted time to try more products to make sure that what I'm sharing with you is as thorough as possible. So the first thing I want to say is that I just want to put it out there right off the bat. This might not be the most money-saving option for all people. Some of it's going to depend on what is important to you and what's available close to you. Such as some of you are able to get meat from local farmers that you know is been, not fed genetically modified foods and as organically raised as possible. Or if it's beef, we're talking grass-fed beef and all that. Some people can do that for less. But if you're like us and you live more remote and you don't have access to such things, then for us, this has been a great option and I'm very pleased with it, even 7 months down the road. I'll be talking about some of the products that I've tried and what I recommend. But the first thing I want to talk about is that some people think, well, I can't afford to pay that kind of money every month, or have something that because it is kind of a subscription based sort of thing. But what a lot of people don't realize is you don't have to buy it every month. You can skip months at a time if you want. You can change your delivery date, which means you're also the date that you're going to be charged for it anytime you want. And you can also at any time, like I do almost every month, change what you're getting in your box. You don't have to select certain things and then that's it for here and ever after. So at any time you can change what your main things are, and you can also have add-ons. Like for us, we do the smaller of the 2 boxes, and so we get to select 6 different cuts of meat. And again, those 6 we can change at any time, but it doesn't mean that's all we have to get in that box. There's always going to be sales and various things and what they call add-ons. So they give you member deals, which are one thing. So they might have this particular thing on sale for this particular period of time that you can add to your box. And if you add it to your box, even if the sale ends before your box is going to be delivered, you'll still get that sale price. And you just got to make sure you add it to the box during that time while it is on sale. And that's the member deals. And then there's the add-ons that are always there, and you can add and subtract those at any time. And a lot of those are going to be some of your basic things like your ground beef, the chicken and Italian sausages I've talked about, and various other basic things that you can get. And they also have some specialty things that come available at different times. Like for Thanksgiving, they came out with a turkey and I was very thrilled, and it was a great turkey. Unfortunately, I didn't get a photo of it after I baked it. I meant to, but usually by that point everybody's ready to eat and we carved right into it. And so, I forgot again. I forget every year. Every month I'll do some little changing in there. So here's an example. Though we do eat pork, we don't eat that much of it. So every once in a while, I might add the pork chops in there because they do have really good pork chops. They have really good bacon as long as you get the tender belly bacon. I personally don't recommend their regular butcher box bacon because it's very thin, unless you like it that way. So the tender belly bacon is the better of the two, and I recommend that. But that's pretty much it when it comes to pork products. I did get a spiral ham just to have it in my freezer in case we want to have a nice meal. And it's there, and it's something like I might cook up a ham once every few years. So we tend to put our focus more on the meats like the chicken and the beef as far as meats that we're going to get through the butcher box. I will get some seafood, but I don't buy fish because typically we can get that locally. And we do have a lot of fish in our freezer and also canned up. So I can't give you any reviews on the actual fish, but the shellfish that I've tried, such as the prawns and the scallops, I really love the scallops. They're so tender. They're big though, and I found myself when I made a seafood fettuccine, I had to quarter up the scallops because they were so big, but they're very tender, easy to cut when they're raw, and just cook up beautifully. Now, one of my favorite things is the chuck roast. And I had the chuck roast in the very first order I did and immediately fell in love with the chuck roast. I get it every single month. I've tried another roast that was more expensive, meaning that even though you're paying the same price for the 6 basic cuts, there's less meat on that roast, like a pound less. Though it was good, I didn't like it any more than the chuck roast. So I'm going to keep getting the chuck roast because I get more meat with that one than I do with the, I can't remember what it was called, but if I remember, I'll look up the name and I'll put it right here. And also they do offer lamb on occasion for those who like lamb. And I keep wanting to try it, and I'm nervous because that would be something you would add on as a member deal. And lamb is a lot more expensive than beef. And the last time I tried lamb, I wasn't really crazy about it, but I keep wanting to try it again. But anyway, they do offer that from time to time as well. One thing that I did try that was more expensive that I fell in love with is they have ground bison available. I got one and just thought, okay, I'll play with it. It's a lot more expensive than ground beef, but I'll just give it a try. And I couldn't really think of anything special I wanted to do with it, but I wanted to do something where I know I could really taste the meat. And so I didn't want to make hamburgers with it or have it be a ground meat that I'd add to a sauce. I wanted something where I could really appreciate the flavor of it. So I ended up making a meatloaf out of it, which I did get a picture of it when I had it all prepared. I forgot again to get a picture of it when it was all done. It was amazing. It was the best meatloaf, in my personal opinion, that I've ever made. And so I'm definitely going to be getting more of the bison, but to me that's kind of because it is definitely more pricey, that's just kind of a extra thing. It's not something I'm going to do a lot of. I'm going to stick with the ground beef. Oh, and coming back to when I signed up, and this is something that changes all the time. In the description box down below, I'm going to have my referral link to ButcherBox. When you go through that referral link, you'll get some kind of special deal. Like someone who went through before Thanksgiving ended up getting like a free turkey and something else I can't remember. When I signed up, I got 2 pounds of ground beef every month for life for free. I don't have to pay for that. That's just an added bonus to my box every single order I do for as long as I decide to keep it in there, and unless I decide to change my mind because some other member deal comes up that I can have go in there, because there's sometimes you can sign up at certain times and it's the bacon for life and so on and so forth. And I do think you can change that. But we go through a lot of ground beef. I use it in many different ways. So I'm just keeping that on there. At least, I don't know, for however long sounds good to me. And then the other thing is like for us, anyone who goes through my referral link, we get a $30 credit off of our next box. And so that is a pretty big difference, and that really helps us a lot. So every time somebody signs up under that referral link, we get that. But here's a great thing that you need to know is you don't have to have a YouTube channel. You don't have to have any kind of affiliate. If you sign up, you can then create your own referral link and give it to friends and family, and you can get $30 off your next box. And if you had 3 people that signed up all in the same time frame before your next box comes in, that's $90 off of your box. And that's been working out pretty good. We've had several people sign up, and that's really helped to make this even more affordable to us. So we really appreciate that. But yes, know that you can create your own referral link to share with others. And that can really, every little bit we can do can be very, very helpful, especially now when we need it the most. Now, some other things I've tried and been very happy with is their corned beef, their ground Italian sausage. I probably won't do that anymore because I'm liking the chicken sausage in the links, but it was really good, the ground Italian sausage. And I have some right here that I dehydrated up, and yes, vacuum sealed in a jar. I do not keep it in a freezer or refrigerator. And all these meats that I've dehydrated up and I store in my pantry have been holding up great. Even the sausage where I kept all the fat in there. But for those of you who cannot have pork because you're either allergic to it or because of religious reasons, then there are other types of ground meats that they offer. And you can always, I think they have like a ground turkey or a ground chicken that's plain. And then you can just add your own sausage type seasonings to that. Make it however you want. But the sausage links, this is something I learned more recently, And I mentioned it in this and that video, and that's, let's see, right here, dehydrated up, I have the apple chicken sausage, but there's also the Italian chicken sausage, and they're both really good, depending on how you're going to use them. But one thing I failed to say in a previous video where I was talking about these, the one where I was talking about dehydrating these, that I had missed, or I saw it and forgot, is because I know I read the ingredients, but I missed this part, is the casing around the sausage is made from pork. So if you can't have pork, then you're going to want to remove the casing. Otherwise, I just leave it on there. I don't worry about it. So that's good to know. I know someone who's allergic to pork and likes their chicken sausage, and I made sure that she knew that the casing was made from pork when I found that out. So she's going to want to make sure that gets cut off there before she uses it. I have tried their ranch steaks. I wasn't as happy with the ranch steaks. Those were the first steaks I tried, as the ribeye steaks. Those ones I love. We don't do a lot of steaks, but when we do, I'm finding I like those the best. And so I do recommend those, but it doesn't mean you can't keep trying different ones. There's all types of different cuts of steaks and meats. I usually shoot for the lesser expensive ones, try those first, and then maybe go up. And so again, when you're looking at your basic cuts of that will go in your box, look at the poundage, because when you're doing it that way, the add-ons, you can see the specific price that you're paying, but the ones that are in your box are not showing you a price per. Read the amount of pounds or ounces it is, and then you can compare that. So go with the one where you're going to get more meat from it. By the way, I've also tried their stew meat, also very good. But then another thing you can do is, if you go into the add-ons, there's a lot of those same meats that would be the basic ones in your cuts that are also listed at add-ons. And so you can see what the prices of those are. And what I try to do is have all the ones that I'm going to get that are the most expensive by price go into my basic box, and then use the cheaper cuts as the add-ons rather than the other way around. Because then if you do it the other way around and you're putting the cheaper cuts in as your basic under that basic price, because that price is going to stay the same, and then you put the more expensive ones as your add-ons, then you're going to be paying more that way per pound. So make sure you switch that up. Get your most expensive cuts, like the bison. I would not use that as an add-on because of the price. I'm going to have that be part of my basic cut. Same with the ribeye steaks. And then something like the chicken sausage, the Italian sausage that I'm talking about in the links, those are something I would only purchase as an add-on because they're not very expensive in comparison. And again, I'm going to stress this again, always look at the weight so you can figure out your price per weight. That's the way you're going to get the best deal out of your box when you're looking at that. I try to look at all of those things, take everything into account to be able to get the best overall savings on my box. I also will get the whole chickens because that's something I do quite a bit, like maybe once every other week. I will bake up a whole chicken and then use the leftover meats for making other dishes. And I do the same thing with the chuck roast. Either one of those, there's no way the two of us are going to eat it all in one night, which I don't even eat dinner anyway most of the time. So usually there's a lot of meat left over. So then the leftover meats, typically, if I don't just reheat them back up on the wood stove, then those leftover meats are going to go into making some other kind of dish. For example, the most recent one I did was I cooked up a chuck roast, and then I took the leftover roast and used it in making some homemade enchiladas. That's one of my favorite things to do with a leftover roast. I do other things. And in fact, I have a playlist, a whole series I've done on making the most of leftovers, where I break down some of the dishes and share recipes where I use leftover chicken, leftover roast, leftover fish to make various different dishes. So I'm going to link to that full playlist down below. And then so again, the same thing applies to the chicken. I'll roast the chicken, then use the leftover meat to make something like chicken fettuccine, a chicken and biscuit pot pie, or just a regular chicken pot pie where I make the top crust and the bottom crust like a regular pie. I'll also do that with beef roast from time to time as well. And then, oh, some of my favorite things to do, I don't do as often, but we do really enjoy, are making an almond chicken or an orange chicken. Those are dishes with more of an Asian flair, and I do have recipes on those. I think they're all included in that playlist I'll be putting down below. And then, of course, there's fried rices. That's what I'll do a lot of times with the leftover pork chop meat, or the leftover chicken meat, is make a fried rice. And then a fairly new product that they have that I initially wasn't sure I was going to try until I saw it go on sale were their chicken nuggets, because I've always seen chicken nuggets as junk food. But when I read through the ingredients, I was pretty happy with what I read, and I thought it would be fun to give them a try, especially with the grandkids. And they have two kinds. They have a chicken strips, and then they have the chicken nuggets. I think it's the chicken nuggets that are totally gluten-free. So those who cannot have gluten, that's going to be the way you want to go. And then there's the chicken strips, and they are both pretty good. I did bake up 2 of each just to try them out to see if I was going to like them, and I'm glad I did, because they both went on sale for even less in this most recent box. That can be something I can give them that would be more of a treat for lunch, that I know has all organic and non-genetically modified ingredients in it. So I was pretty happy with them. So anyway, that's my overall review. And again, I am very happy with it. But you're going to have to go in there, check it out, and do the math and see and compare it to what you can get locally and find out if that's a really good deal for you. For me, one of the things I just love about it is I don't have to go into the store to go shop for it. I can shop online. It's delivered right to my front door, and you always get notifications. You get email notifications when it's been delivered, so you know it's there. And the same thing applies to Misfits Market, which I'll also put the referral link down to there, and I'll also link you to my most recent review on Misfits Market. And I still like them, but I don't get meat from Misfits anymore. I now get all my meat from ButcherBox, and then everything else, my dairy and my organic produce, I get from Misfits Market. So, and yes, you can, they have the referral links. You can do the same thing. I think it's $10 for every person who signs up under your referral, and you can make your own and share that as well. And that's the Misfits Market. And, oh yes, one more thing. I've never had to deal with this in particular, but I have had a friend who her box arrived late, and some of the stuff in the box had already started to thaw. So she told them, they refunded her whole box, even though nothing in it had spoiled. It was just that some of the meat had thawed. And then I had one item so far with ButcherBox that didn't arrive. It was really easy to go in there, because I'd paid for it, and just say, and you just kind of fill out this little form and check this item wasn't in my box, and they refund you for it. I think there's a couple ways you can do it. They'll either send you the money, or you can just have it come off of your next box, which is what I did. So anyway, I just thought I'd share that. So those who are looking for, especially if you're like us, you're looking for a place where you can get some good, healthy, raised grass-fed beefs and chicken and whatever else that's out there that your family likes, and you want the ease of having it delivered to your door, I highly recommend ButcherBox. I personally am very, very thrilled with it, and I'm going to stay with them as long as I can. And even if a month comes where we can't afford it, at least I know, or my freezers are too full and I don't want to can any up, I know I can skip a month, 2 or 3, however many I want, and then start getting them again when I'm ready. And if any of you have been with ButcherBox 1 month, 2 months, however long, please share with us your experiences down below. It doesn't have to be good. It's good for people to hear the negative. If anything bad has happened, any bad dealings you've had, people need to be able to see the whole picture. Just because I haven't had any issues other than that one item that I didn't get, which they're refunding me for right away, I haven't had any bad issues. It doesn't mean that other people haven't. And just like with Misfits Market, sometimes things can depend on your location and where your meat's coming from. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to go through my referral link down below and check it out. And thanks for watching. Take care and God bless.